Arian Curry recently went live, and as expected, she was joined by Martell Holt. The two of them had all the kids with them, and it seemed like the children were outside just enjoying themselves, playing, and having a normal day. While the kids were in the background, Arian started talking about her life, her education, and her future plans. She revealed some personal details that quickly caught attention, especially because of how Martell kept inserting himself into the conversation. Arian explained that she has been focused on her education. She shared that she first earned a degree in biology back in 2013 from Alabama A&M. That was her first degree, and it gave her the foundation to pursue further studies. According to her, she is now in a 2-year nursing program. She explained how the program works. After 3 semesters, nursing students are able to test for their LPN license, and then with 2 more semesters, they can complete the requirements to test for their RN. Arian made it clear that she has already finished 3 semesters, which means she is waiting for the next steps and preparing for her LPN exam. She seemed proud of this accomplishment because it represents growth and direction for her future. She said that she was waiting to hear back from the Alabama Board of Nursing to get her authorization to test. This means she is close to making things official. For Arian, it was a moment of pride, but as always when she speaks publicly, people had comments, questions, and even criticisms. During the live, one person in the comments pointed out that she does not have a job and even added that she doesn't have a car. That statement could have easily been ignored, but Martell jumped in and responded. He confirmed that Arian has not worked in 4 years. This opened the door for even more conversation between the two of them. Martell went further and said she had not worked in about 5 years, aside from a brief period where she worked for a month and a half during one summer before starting nursing school. When Arian asked Martell if he wanted her to get a job, Martell's answer was not straightforward. At first, he said no, but then he explained his reasoning. He said that back when she did work, she was only making around $14 or $15 an hour. According to him, it did not make financial sense for her to work at those wages. Martell insisted that if she were going to work, it would need to be for at least $50 to $60 an hour. Otherwise, in his mind, it wasn't worth it. He also said that he did not want her working night shifts, because she has children at home, and in his opinion, her focus should be on raising them. That comment created even more of a conversation. Arian reminded him that working nights actually pays more money, which is why a lot of nurses choose that shift. She explained that she could work nights while the kids were asleep and still be there in the morning to take care of them, get them to school, and handle their daily needs. But Martell stood firm on saying that he didn't want her to do that. He stressed that he wanted her only to work if it made sense financially, and that meant only if she was earning top wages. This is where the discussion took a turn. Martell then started saying random things about nurses. He claimed that he has heard too many stories about nurses being cheaters. He even suggested that nurses have reputations for being unfaithful. This comment was met with confusion because it seemed out of place and unfair. Arian laughed it off, but the chat was quick to remind Martell of his own history. People commented that he was a cheater himself, which made his statements sound hypocritical. Martell then defended himself, saying he had not cheated in 6 years. The live went back and forth between serious conversation and light-hearted moments. At one point, Martell even asked Arian if she thought he was the prize. He wanted her to confirm to everyone watching that he was a good man. Arian told him that she did believe he was the prize, but it was clear she was trying to keep the conversation calm rather than argue with him in front of the viewers. Martell kept pressing her, asking what made him the prize. He wanted her to list reasons, but she chose to answer in a general way. She said he was good to her and that he was the full package. Instead of getting into details, she focused on the idea that what they have together doesn't need to be explained to outsiders. She reminded him that people online would never understand their situation and would never agree with their choices. She said she was content because Martell has supported her financially, helped her while she's in school, and taken care of her needs. For her, that was enough, and she didn't feel like she had to explain it to anyone. Still, viewers could tell that there was tension. Martell's tone came across as defensive at times, especially when people in the comments challenged him. Some told Arian to find herself a doctor instead of sticking with Martell. He quickly interrupted that suggestion and claimed he makes more money than many doctors anyway. He tried to present himself as a better option than any doctor, saying he is already a good man and provides what Arian needs. Later, the topic of karma came up. Arian brought it up in a reflective way, but Martell immediately dismissed the idea. He argued that karma isn't real and used extreme examples to make his point. He said that if karma were real, certain groups of people would no longer exist because of history. Arian countered by saying she believes karma is real and that they have experienced it in their own way. But Martell continued to say that what people call karma is just life, growth, and challenges. What stood out the most from the live, however, was the overall dynamic between Arian and Martell. They seemed to go back and forth in a way that showed both closeness and conflict. On one hand, Martell was saying he didn't want her to work unless it made financial sense, and on the other hand, he was also saying he wanted her to work. He kept bringing up the past, reminding her how little she used to make compared to what he expects now. The issue of not having a job or a car was left hanging in the air. Arian didn't really address the comment about not having a car, but the fact that Martell jumped in to defend her shows that he knew people would judge her situation. The conversation also highlighted how much she relies on him financially. While she is in school, she does not have an independent income, and Martell seems to use that as leverage. Another layer of the live was the constant reminder of Martell's public image. When people commented on his past actions, including cheating, he was quick to deny or downplay them. At the same time, he wanted to present himself as the prize, the man who is taking care of everything, and the one who makes more money than most. Arian went along with his statements to keep the peace, but it was clear she wanted the focus to be on her achievements in school and her upcoming nursing career. Some fans watching the live pointed out that it has been years, and Martell still has not proposed to Arian. Even though she stood by him and even though they have children together, he has not taken that next step. One viewer even suggested that maybe he is waiting until she officially becomes a nurse and has her own license before proposing. That way, she would have more independence and something solid to bring to the relationship. But for now, the engagement question remains unanswered. Throughout the live, Arian tried to keep her energy light and positive. She talked about her hair, her routine, and other small details in between the heavier topics. It was clear she wanted to show that she is happy and focused, even if her situation isn't perfect. She emphasized that Martell is supporting her through school and that she is on the path to becoming a nurse, which will open doors for her. The irony, of course, is that just weeks ago, Arian and Martell were focused on criticizing Melody. They spent time making comments about her and trying to insert themselves into her business. But now, as this live showed, they have plenty of things to focus on in their own household. The comments about not having a job, not having a car, and relying on Martell show that they still have issues to work through. At the end of the day, the live left people with mixed reactions. Some viewers felt sympathy for Arian, recognizing that she is trying to get her education and improve her life. Others saw the situation as proof that she has tied herself too closely to Martell, depending on him for support while he controls the narrative. Martell's insistence on being called the prize and his refusal to acknowledge his past actions stood out the most. What happens next is uncertain. Will Arian finish her program, pass her exams, and finally have a career of her own? Will Martell actually support her working, or will he continue to put limits on what she can and cannot do? Will he finally propose after all these years, or will things continue the way they are? These are the questions viewers were left asking after watching the live. For now, what is clear is that Arian is still in school, still without a job, and according to comments, still without a car. Martell is still claiming he is the prize and insisting that he provides everything. The live gave a rare look into their dynamic as a couple, and it left people talking about what they saw, questioning whether this relationship is really as stable as they want people to believe.